Hey, vinyl community, happy Thursday. Once again, I've got three of my best friends in the BC here. We got Gary, Physical Format Rock and Roll, Aaron, Mutha Alamere, and for the first time in a while, we have Josh from JC Flipside.
Get back.
Yay.
Thank you, guys.
Who are we missing?
Yes. Oh, that other guy.
The man with the golden voice.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
Chris Prophy could not be with us today, but hopefully next week he'll be back with us. But we're here today. We're going to talk about our top 10 songs by the Cars. Yay!
Yay!
Everybody loves the Cars. They're one of those bands that people can't help, like, especially if you grew up in the 80s. You saw the Cars all over MTV. They were all over the radio. But yeah, Cars. We're going to get into our top 10 list. Before we do, just a quick shout out. Mike Hunter, one of our viewers, has his own channel. Mike Hunter, Mike's Got the Spins. I love the name of that. Very clever, very cool. So make sure you check Mike out if you're looking for some different content. Just started his YouTube channel, give him a sub, and tell him Jeff, Gary, Aaron, and Josh sent you. So starting in on our top 10, we're going to do this like we've been doing lately. We're going to do our 10 through 6, and our 5 through 2, and then our number 1. So Gary, get us started off with your 10 through 6.
All right.
To say about the Cars.
Okay. Number 10 is the title track from their second album, Candy-O. I like that song. It's a nice, hard driving song. I think it's a pretty good rocking one for the band. I think that's basically why I like it. I've got certain different reasons why I like certain songs by the Cars, and I think that one's just a good rock song. Number 9 is off of Panorama, and it's Down Boys. I like that song. I like that album, Panorama. Definitely has a very strong new wave feel to it. Yep, there it is. I got mine in the other room. It has, I think, a lot of, this sounds like a rocking Devo song to me. Because they go, you can make it with the Down Boys, and then it goes, has that weird noise going on in there. So I've always liked that song. Number 8, don't really need to say a whole lot about this, but it's My Best Friend's Girl. That's just a great song. That's one of those classic Cars songs, man. Everybody knows it. And the thing about those songs by the Cars, it's very rare that they have any of those big hits that I get tired of. And I've got like 1 or 2 that I get tired of, but that's definitely not one of them. Number 7, this is a fantastic song of theirs, I think, and it is called Drive. One of their biggest hits. I won't say a whole lot about it. What I like about that song is it's one of those songs that you can kind of paint your own picture with it. It probably has different meaning to a lot of different people. We might all have a different opinion of what that song is about. And I love songs like that. And it's just got a great vocal. It's just a fantastic song. And then number 6 is another title track from the album Panorama. I love that effect, that they have, the synthesizer where they say Panorama. They go along with it. It's just another song that to me sounds like a rocking Devo song in a way. That album, like I said, very very new wave, and I've just always loved that song. So that's my number 6.
Well, the thing about Panorama too is, I wasn't buying records back then, but can you imagine you bought the first Cars album, you bought Candy-O, and then you buy Panorama and you put the needle on the record and you hear Panorama coming out, and you're like, what the?
Yeah.
And then it's like, this doesn't sound anything like the Cars. And then, Touch and Go, like, I mean, the first thing that I think sounds remotely like the old Cars might be Give Me Some Slack.
Yeah.
But still, it's such an unusual album, and such a, I mean, it really was a bold move for them to kind of abandon the formula that had worked so well on their first two albums. And then with Panorama, obviously they were getting into the whole, new wave, post-punk, listening to a lot of Devo, I'm sure, some of the synth pop bands a little bit. And then like, hey, this is what we're into now, guys, and hope you got, and I think that's probably why, Panorama didn't sell all that well, but I think it's a fantastic album. I think it's great. And especially it helps if you like new wave and post-punk and, the bands like you had mentioned, if you like the Pretenders and, the bands like Devo and, maybe even a little bit of Kraftwerk or whatever. But
I think with what helped with me liking that one is, so like at that time, I was younger when that was coming out, and like the first two Cars albums I didn't actually own when they first came out. The first one that I physically bought was I bought an 8-track of Panorama, so I could listen to that one all the time. Now I had some friends that had the first two Cars albums, and you know how that is when you have limited money when you're a kid. So I would go over to their house, listen to it. So I already liked it and everything. And so when the new album came out, I'm like, well, I'm going to buy that, So yeah, it was quite the departure, but because I had it and you have only had so many records, I played it all the time. And I think that's why I learned to love it. And that song you said, Touch and Go, almost made my list, by the way. I love that crazy, like cowboy sounding guitar that's in part of that too. Dun, dun, dun. That sounds like the Pretenders. When you when you said that.
And and it's so because you've got the verses where you've got that synthesizer,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh wow, it's totally new wave. And then you get into this rockabilly chorus. Where did that come from? But it's such a seamless transition too. If you listen to that, like they don't skip a beat. There's not any edit. They go right from that. Like these keyboard, like, arpeggios or whatever, these stabbing keyboard riffs right into the ding, 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 ding. Like, whoa, what the hell? But that's what makes
weird,
that song cool. Yeah.
The thing about Touch and Go too, that song reminds me of The Police. It sounds like it come off Ghost in the Machine almost. The sound of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think of the synthesizer and the way the drums go along with it. Yeah.
And it has that Material World sound almost to it. It's the only song that someone other than The Police sounds kind of like that.
Yeah.
That sound.
All right, Aaron.
So my number 10, well, the Cars, growing up, I was born in 1970. So I first got into them, I think it was 81. Is that when Shake It Up came out? 81? And
I think so.
I really distinctly remember I was visiting my relatives in Portland, Oregon, and I have an uncle. He had like a special edition Trans Am, really nice, like the black Trans Am T-top. And he was playing Shake It Up in his killer car stereo we had. That's where I first really got into the Cars, was hearing it from him. And so my number 10 is Shake It Up. I love that song. It's just, the Cars songs I like the most are like those infectious, make you feel good songs. They have all kinds of moody ones too, but I just love those. No one does a pop rock song or a power pop song better than the Cars. They're infectious and they stick with you, and Shake It Up is my number 10. So number 9, going from the first record, Good Times Roll. Love that song. Right. One of my favorites they do. This is the first song on the first album, isn't it? I believe. Yep. And it just starts off with a bang. And I almost didn't even put that in my top 10. I was going to put a different song from Shake It Up, but I couldn't leave Good Times Roll off my top 10. There's no way. And I actually did make a top 30. So yeah.
Big surprise.
Yeah, surprise. I could have went top 50 because I like the Cars so much. And my number 8 is from this record here. And it's called Fun Time. Love Fun Time. And that appears only on this. as a demo, they did on this anthology, they did a version of Fun Time, which is written by Iggy Pop and David Bowie. And it's so killer. And Ben Orr sings it. And he sounds more like Iggy Pop than Iggy Pop almost. It's just perfect. And I really should have put it on a record. I really love that version. It's one of my favorite Cars songs. I listen to this quite a bit. This has some extra stuff, but Fun Time from this is just amazing. I love it.
Aaron
And
with the deep track. Love it.
Yeah, love
I
it.
love that. And it's talking about, it's, if anyone knows that song, it's a, Iggy Pop has his own thing, but Ben Orr, and that's the thing about the Cars too. Most people think it's just Rick Ocasek singing, but Ben Orr actually sang most of their early big hits, a lot of them anyway. And he was my favorite member of the Cars. I really like his stuff. So saying that, I got a Rick Ocasek song next. At number, we're on my 7. I'm going to go from this record, and I'm going Magic. I've always loved Magic ever since I was a kid. It's always been my favorite song from this record. And this record is probably my least favorite of the first 5, but it's still great. I mean, it's got Drive and Magic, and you might think, which made it into my top 30, but just barely. And
Just
a
like
few
their
other
1984.
yeah, I mean, it's a great record, but I don't think it's as good as their 4. I like Panorama better than that, and I like another record better than that one even. So, but yeah, I'm going with Magic for number 7, and number 6, going back to the Shake It Up record for Since You're Gone. I love Since You're Gone. There's something about that song that is that a guitar at the beginning, that sound they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. With some kind of
It's like
effect on it.
drumming the strings. Yeah, I just love that, and I've always loved Since You're Gone. And Cruiser almost made my top 10. That's my number 11. But I love Since You're Gone. It's my favorite song from that record. So
Yeah.
that's my 10 through 6.
Aaron, I can tell you that Magic almost made my list because it's such a feel-good song. Like, it's one of those songs that I can picture the music video in my head. I can just picture, being a kid in my dad's car, that song always on the radio, just filled with such good memories. It's like one of those songs. The other day, Michelle said, "What songs make you happy?" And it's like, it's hard not to be happy with that song. And I get some Cars purists might be like, well, it's a little too poppy, but it's pure pop gold. Like, it is perfection. If you want to write a pop song, that song is perfection.
I also try not to drown every time I'm at a pool because I try to walk on it like that.
Well, it's one of those songs that I can't hear the song without thinking about the video.
Yeah.
Like that poolside video. It's just it's an album that came out during the MTV's golden years when every big band had a video, and they were memorable videos. And that one in particular, like Drive, I remember that video. You might think obviously classic video, but it's hard to kind of separate. For me, when I hear those tracks, I still in the back of my head, I've got the video playing all.
The video for me that goes through my head is your version of Drive. I can't get that out of my head. Drive now. So you sitting there.
Yeah. You ever hear the Deftones do a cover of Drive, and it's amazing.
Wow.
Everybody seek that out. So Gary, I thought our lists were going to be identical. You were going to laugh hysterical because we have a lot of the same songs and in the same order. My number 10 was Candy-O. And for me, I love that drum fill. You know what I mean? Like after the chorus, it's like this crazy drum beat that just comes out of nowhere, but it's so infectious. And it is a rocking song, and I absolutely love it. Just a great one. The next one I had was Down Boys, which let me tell you a funny story. So I was watching Headbangers Ball one day, and they're like, we're going to play a new video by a new band called Warrant with Down Boys. I'm like, holy shit, someone's covering the Cars? That's what I first said. I'm like, this ain't the fucking Cars. What the hell is that? I ended up liking it, but I was so expecting the Cars. I was like, it's such a great song. And I was playing all the albums this week, getting prepared. And when Down Boys came out, I was like, oh, yeah, I love this song. It's definitely my favorite song off this album. So great one. The next one I have is My Best Friend's Girl. Just another pure perfection song. This whole album, I was telling the guys before we started the video that my initial list was almost this entire album. It's just a masterpiece. I can't say anything more about it. Just amazing. And then my next song is just what I needed off this album. So another fantastic song and just pure perfection. So just make sure I get this right. Candy-O is my number 10, Down Boys number 9, Best Friends Girl number 8, Just What I Needed number 7, and then number 6. And this might be surprising to people, but it's actually the song Door to Door. I love this song. It is super heavy. Every time I hear it, I picture Dave Mustaine singing it. If you are a Megadeth fan, if you go listen to this song and you picture Dave Mustaine listening to it, it is pure metal. Even the cadence of his voice, it fits into, it's almost like you wonder if they heard like Peace Cells or something and they're like, we could totally do that. Because it is pure thrash metal. And Chris Brophy always says that, but I love the song. It's heavy, 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 and it could easily be done by Megadeth. All right, those are my 10 through 6.
I thought for sure that song was going to be on Aaron's list. I mean, maybe, no, he just showed it, and it's like a
14.
I thought it would be, but then when you picked Magic on there, I'm like, well, maybe he won't go that way then. He obviously likes the real sugary stuff there. I mean, I love that too. I'm not insulting you at all when I say that. I just figured with Aaron that song was going to be really high on this list.
Like I said, this whole top 30, any of those could have made my top 10. So I love the Cars. So.
Oh yeah, I've got songs that didn't make it that if you asked me a month from now, I'd probably change my mind or something.
Yeah.
All right. My number 10, and I'm pretty confident nobody else has this on their top 10 list, but it's off Shake It Up. I'm going with This Could Be Love. It's just we talk about, the Cars kind of moved into that new wave post-punk territory with Panorama, and I think it carried over to Shake It Up. I think they corrected a little bit, and I think there's elements of this that sound a bit more like Candy-O, but This Could Be Love. I just love, you've got just kind of like this synthesizer there, and it starts off with like no drum. And first of all, I love Benjamin Orr. I'm a huge, like, Benjamin Orr. Everybody talks about Rick Ocasek. Rick Ocasek stole the spotlight. Everybody knows Rick Ocasek, and Rick Ocasek went on to be a producer, solo artist, and all that. But Benjamin Orr, such a great songwriter. I love his voice. And this was a track that very much new wave. But also Greg Hawkes. Nobody ever talks about him like on the keyboards. Like, he lent so much to the Cars. It wasn't all Rick Ocasek's quirky vocals, and I mean Elliot Easton obviously is a great guitarist. You had two great songwriters in Rick Ocasek and Benjamin Orr, but Greg Hawkes was just kind of like, he'd add that element that just sort of like took it to another level, or made it, it gave it personality, or made it distinctive. And, he's got such a weird and quirky keyboards, like synthesizer solo on this song. And it just, he's got these little keyboard flourishes all throughout the song that I think are just great. I mean, it's sort of like that's the song I think that he shines on the most on that album. But anyway, it's always one that I've loved since I first heard that record. That one has always stood out to me. Number 9, I'm going with Double Life off of Candy-O. And I love that. It's, kind of one of these like building block songs where it's like, it starts off just with a guitar and drums, and then they throw in the bass, and then you've got, Elliot Easton adding like some little guitar bits and pieces in there, and then you've got some harmonies, and then you've got this like shaker thing as like it starts to build. And then I just love how it kind of like, it's got this repetitive beat, but then they go off on this, and it's all gonna happen to you. It just kind of goes off, and then you've got like the synthesizer. It's almost, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, like songs like I Want You, She's So Heavy, where they start off basic and then they just kind of like go on and on and on, and they start building and building. And then, you know, obviously it sort of segues right into Shooby Doo, which is a cool track also. But yeah, I don't know, something about Double Life. I love that. It's one of my favorites. And then from the Panorama album, I'm going with Running to You. Again, Benjamin Orr. Love that. And the thing that I think is so cool about that particular track is the build up to the chorus, because you've got the verses and then, you know, I don't know what you call it as far as musical structure goes, but, you know, it's like having a real time, just taking what's not mine. And then you think like right into the chorus, but then it's like, no, then it goes into, and I'm doing what I want to do, you know. And then it's like, then they go into the chorus, and it's like so cool. It's like, wow, like you've got two bits that like lead right up. They're not part of the verses, but it's just like this little bridge into the chorus, and they're both melodic. They're both like, damn, like that's so chock full of melody. It's got, they both have hooks, and they're cool in that way. And then he goes like right into the Running to You chorus, which I think is very cool. But like, you know, Benjamin Orr, again, he's like such a great, such a melodic, such a fantastic songwriter. You know, I really want to give him some props during this video. So that is my number 8. Number 7, cheesy, whatever. Yeah, it was all over the radio, but You Might Think. Love that track. You know, and it's not sophisticated. Do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do. It's like, you know, what 9-year-old couldn't have picked that up? It like, but it like works. It's so great. And then just that whole, the rhythm of the verses, you know, it's just like great, like pop masterpiece. It's not pretentious. It's just pop gold right there. The video was revolutionary on MTV, and just the whole package. Love it. It's infectious. That's the best word I can use. It's, you hear it, you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah.
And number 6, I am going back to the Candy-O album for Dangerous Type, the closing song on that album. Yeah, my dad had this album growing up, and I remember just like staring at it like movies, you know. And I know it's like, I'm not sure, but I mean, am I the only one? Like, that anybody else is kind of like, ooh.
Gonna retire to the bedroom.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Dangerous Type. I don't know. I love like the intro. Near.
I love it.
Near, you know, and then like right into the, you know, a cool Rick Ocasek vocal, and then, you know, Greg Hawkes on the keyboard. She's a lot like you, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, like that whole whatever it is that like leads into, you know, that kind of segue into like the next verse. I think is so cool. But yeah, great way to end the album. One of my favorite album closers. But yeah. So yeah, This Could Be Love 10, Double Life 9, Running to You 8, You Might Think 7, and Dangerous Type number 6. All right, Gary, 5 through 2.
All right. First of all, I love it when you play your air guitar, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't have
You always play it up here.
I don't have a musical bone in my body. Well, can you
He's like,
tell? I don't have a musical bone in my, yeah, whatever. Well, only so people can see. They can see like the
Exactly.
play along at home. You can see exactly whatever.
That little guitar you had.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nearest I'll ever come to actually performing a video. But
Oh God, that was a great one. Okay. My number 5, another one, because yeah, I think I'm picking this because of the vocals, and that's Bye Bye Love. You know, it's different. You know, you got the chorus, Bye, bye, love. Da-da, da-da. But then I love those verses. You know, the way it's like very jittery, and it gets more so as the song goes along. And I just love how that's different. You know, I guess this is kind of a theme. We're talking about some of these songs where the verses are so much different than the chorus. And that's the way this song is. And it's also got some pretty good guitar work in it from Elliot Easton on that particular song. I think it's, you know, another good song that you get into and you get rocking. And I don't know if you guys, you probably all know this, but you know that Elliot Easton was in Creedence Clearwater Revisited.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was in it for years. When they started that up, you know, with Doug and Stu, the drummer and the bass player from CCR, they started up their own like tribute kind of band. And Elliot Easton was a guitar player in that band for years when they started it up. So just a little trivia for you folks. So we're just doing one song now, or what?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
No, 5 through 2.
Oh,
5 through 2. Okay. All right. I know I forget this every time you explain the rules. I'm sorry. And I had to be the first one to go, so I always look stupid. Number 4 is, man, I just love this song. I have, you know, I don't know, I would have been around maybe 8th grade or something. The song Let's Go. I love that. Bow, 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 bow. I like the nightlight, baby. That whole guitar in there and everything, it's just such a great song. You guys keep using the word infectious, and that's the way I feel about that. Man, that just gets in my head, and it's hard to get that out of it. You know, I can have that in my head the whole day. Every time my mind wanders, it'll go, let's go. It just sticks in my head, but I love
Well,
it.
and the thing about that song too, it's like A Hard Day's Night. You've got that.
Mhm.
So it's like that opening chord, you know,
Yeah.
and the song opens. So it reminds me of A Hard Day's Night in that respect.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good analogy there. Number 3. God, this is so great. We already talked about it, but Let the Good Times Roll. You know, let the good times roll. Just the way they sing that, man. You know, you can remember. What's so funny is now the first Cars album is pretty much, you know, it's considered classic rock. You know, it's a classic rock album. But as a kid, you know, you got to remember this came out at the same time when Aerosmith and Kiss, you know, were the bands you listened to, and Rush, you know, and Black Sabbath. So the Cars come out with this, you know, it sounds like classic rock now, but it sounded like something totally different at the time. You know, it sounded very fresh and new and like a new wave kind of thing, even though we're saying their third album was, at the time, this sounded like it. And those vocals, you know, with that guitar that's not, you know, overstated, just such a kick in the butt. It was just so great. Number 2 is You're All I've Got Tonight. You know, I mean, we all know that. I'm trying to see, I wrote a note here and now I can't even read it, but I don't need it. I just I like the way it's one of their more rocking songs too.
Yeah.
I love, you know, I like all the different styles of the Cars, but man, you know, sometimes when they rock, they, you know, they're just really songs you just really get into, man. And that's one of them. You're All I've Got Tonight. Do do do. You're all I've got tonight. I need you tonight. Just a great song, man. I just love it. It's a fun rocking song. So that's my number 2.
What a great romantic sentiment. You're all I've got tonight.
Yeah.
I got nothing better.
Still another Jack movie coming on.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, because that song is on my list, though, Gary. And here's what I feel about that song, because you guys know I dig deep into lyrics. He says, I'm willing to get hurt. Like the first line is something like, I'm willing to get hurt. He knows this girl is going to totally mess with him. And I feel like that song is like him saying, like, even though I know this is going to end badly, tonight I need this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm holding on to this. And you're so right that it starts off so dark. and it's such a dark song, but then just rocks and it kills, and it's just a masterpiece. And it's not even my number one. And it's like, how the hell is this not my number one? It's just such a masterpiece of a song. It's dark, it's moody, and at the same time it rocks and it kills, and it doesn't depress you, even though it is a quite depressing lyric if you read the lyric.
Yeah, I don't care if you hurt me some more. I think isn't that like the first line or something?
Yeah. He's like, I don't care if you hurt me some more. But it's like, I think we've all been there. You know what I mean? It's like, I asked Michelle the other day, I'm like, has anyone ever drunk dialed you? And she's like, yeah, it happened my whole life. And I'm like, I've never drunk dialed anybody, but I've come close. You know what I mean? You know? And that song is a drunk dial. It's him. He's fucking hammered, and he's like, "You're all I've got tonight." And then he tries to make it sound positive. I need you.
Yeah,
it probably didn't work.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the Devo comparison. The beginning of those like drums at the beginning sound like the opening to Freedom of Choice. You know, kind of like those treated drums.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. Good comparison, Jeff.
Jeff's on point. This is right in Jeff's
smart pants.
I'm just going to tell you what every car song reminds.
We appreciate it.
Am I up?
Hey,
you're up, dude.
My number 5, Candy-O, I Need You So. Just love that song. Ben Orr, man, he's my favorite. And 3 of my top 5 are Ben Orr songs. I'll just say that. Candy-O is just so amazing. I really wanted to put Moving in Stereo with my top 10. I didn't quite make it, but Candy-O is just, I just love that song. And number 4, I'm going from this record here. And it's called Blue Tip. Lead off track. Love it. Love Blue Tip. And the thing about this, it still has their Cars energy, even though this is only put out like 10 years ago, I think. Let me see. About 10 years ago. Ben Orr is on it, but Greg Haas does the keyboards and the bass on it. So they don't add anyone in. It's still just all the Cars. And this album is so good. I love this album. And there's another song almost made it from this album. But Blue Tip, it just sounds like classic Cars. And I love Blue Tip so much. It's so good. And this album's so underrated. I need this on vinyl, but it's like a couple $100, I think. It goes for crazy money. But it's called Move Like This. Love every song on this album. This album actually is my like 3rd or 4th favorite Cars record. Even without Ben Orr, favorite. But this album's just so fresh and good. I love it. And then at number 3, and this list was really hard, except the top 3, I knew instantly what my top 3 were. And in order. I've always been my 3 favorite Cars songs. My number 3 is You're All I've Got Tonight. And just what you guys were saying, and just that guitar would coming in, and it's almost like a metal, just not a riff, but just hits that guitar, and love it so much. And that's like a oxymoron song, like you were saying. It's just like shouldn't make sense that it's a depressing song is that happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're All I've Got Tonight is just so good. And then my number 2, it's always been my 2nd favorite Cars song. Let's Go.
Yeah.
I love Let's Go. It's it's one of those, like you say, it's just infectious. The lyrics, the whole buildup of it. And it's Ben Orr at his finest. One of my 2nd favorite Ben Orr song. I got one more I like better. But Let's Go is my 2nd favorite Cars song. Like I said, the top 3 of this have been my top 3 Cars songs since, for about 35, 40 years now. I've liked them. They've always been my 3 favorites. So that's 2 of them there. So I got, Candy-O at 5, Blue Tip at 4, You're All I've Got Tonight at 3, and Let's Go at 2.
Okay, Aaron, you're my age. Did you ever spend too much time staring at the Candy-O cover?
I actually never had that until I was a little older. I only had Shake It Up in Heartbeat City, but I knew the songs. So I never actually owned the album.
All right, well.
Till later. Then I got it and I hung it on my ceiling, on my wall. It was all
over. I'd buy a poster of this album right now. So my number 5, Jeff mentioned, and Jeff, it's such a great choice. Dangerous Type. And I love the production on that song, especially at the end when the guitar kicks in, because the production, they really push the guitar forward. So it like comes out the speakers. It's incredible. Plus, I really love Dangerous Women. It's pretty much the story of my life. The more dangerous they are, the more attracted I am to them. All right, next, You're All I've Got Tonight. I love this song. I've said enough. It's just a masterpiece. The next one is, to me, sounds like a Tom Petty song. Got a Lot on My Head off this album. It to me could easily be a Tom Petty song. The lyrics are great. I just love I got a lot the lyric, I got a lot on my head, and it's you, pretty much like saying like, like you are consuming my thoughts. I love the lyric, and it's just, I wish Tom Petty before he passed had done a cover of it. It's one of those songs I always dream like, oh, I would love to hear that Tom Petty was a big Cars fan and do a cover of that song. And then lastly, and this very easily could have been my number one, Moving in Stereo. I just love that song. It's haunting. It's dark. It's almost like when you if you ever listen to John Carpenter, like it's like he's got like first off, it's like it sounds like Bowie singing the song almost, and it's just dark and it's disturbing, and I love it. And it's still the Cars, so it doesn't depress you. You know what I mean? But it definitely is a dark song. Moving in Stereo, my number two. So just to recap, I keep my list on my phone. Dangerous Type is number 5. You're All I Got Tonight, number 4. Got a Lot on My Head, number 3, and Moving in Stereo, number 2.
And Moving in Stereo, you were talking about the Candy O cover. That has more memories for me back then than that does for the film.
Oh yeah.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, of course, that has that's where they're playing out in the famous scene there. So.
Yes, that's such a fantastic movie, by the way. That got cable almost taken out of my house because my mom woke up in the middle of the night and turned on the TV, and that scene was on, and she was like, my father's named Joe, and she's like, Joe, they're playing pornography on the TV. My mom's a very religious woman. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Oh,
She was quite upset.
That's my number 12. It just missed my top 10.
Yeah,
Really.
I love that song.
All right, it occurred to me that my bottom 5, I didn't have any from the Cars debut album. But, I mean, it's just the way it worked. I don't know. And I was like also very easily, 9 out of my top 10 were going to be the Cars first album. But I'm like, well, that's, that can't be. But I love the debut album. So the top 5 on my list is going to hopefully rectify that situation. Number 5, I'm going with Bye Bye Love, which happens to also be the title of an Everly Brother, one of the most famous Everly Brother songs. But yeah, I just love the guitar work on that. The Bye Bye Love. I don't know. It's just got great guitar work. It's got keyboard in all the right places. I love that. Just you got it's a Benjamin Orr song, but he sings the verse, and then you've got the Elliot Easton's dee 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 again with my fretwork. Are you paying attention? Dee 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 dee. I don't know. It's cool. Bye Bye Love. We already talked about it, so I'm not going to spend any time on it. But that's my number 5. Number 4, Since You're Gone. And I love it, the beginning where you've got like the tap shoe thing, like click, 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 and then the guitar comes in, and then somehow like that rhythm just fits into the song because they keep it going like up until like the first verse. You're like, damn, how they manage to like work that in. It's like so clever how they do that. I love the keyboards in it. Just everything about it. It was like sort of like, okay, anybody, you guys thought Panorama was too out in left field. Well, we're kind of reeling it back in, and now this is more the Cars sound that you've come to know and love. But yeah, like right out of the gate, I mean, Since You're Gone and then Shake It Up, it's like, damn, the Cars came back with a vengeance, and they were all over MTV, all over the radio. So that is my number 4. Number 3, Good Times Roll. My favorite line in there is, let them brush your rock and roll hair.
Yeah.
You got somebody brushing his hair. He's so cool. What a crazy lyric, but at the same time, it's like so Cars, so Rick Ocasek, so it all makes sense in the context of the song. But I think that one's great. And again, the keyboards and the guitar playing off each other is great. And my number 2, back to this album, My Best Friend's Girl. Just that opening. Ging, 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 ging,
Ding, 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 ding.
It's so, again, we're using the word infectious a lot, but it's just great. You got Rick Ocasek and the cool, she's always dancing. Yeah. It's like over right there. It's like, okay, best song ever written, hands down. Every time I hear that, it's like, damn, it don't get no better than this. But yeah, that's my number 2.
Jeff, it's so funny though. Oh, go ahead, Aaron. What were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I played that album this morning, and that song came on. Same thing. I'm singing, I'm clapping, I'm like staring at Michelle, and I'm like, this song is so brilliant. And it didn't even make my top 10, but that's just speaks to how great this band is.
Well, and even the background vocals, here she comes
again.
And then, it starts off and then they like Rick Ocasek sing. And then, but like at the end, and I love how they change it up at the end. They're just singing it. Here she comes again.
Yeah.
Here she comes. It's just like, it's a masterpiece, a pop masterpiece right there.
Yeah.
So good. That's their debut album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their debut album.
Crazy.
It's going to be one of the greatest debuts ever by a band.
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely rank it up there.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about that when we were doing this. I was like, thinking how great their debut album was. And I started thinking, I wonder where it ranks when you think of, top 10 debut albums. And
It's up there with, to me, like, I always think of Boston. I think of them. I think of Guns N' Roses. It's like where every single song is so good.
Facelift for me.
What's that?
Facelift for me is like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right,
Kiss is the
now
first album.
the money shot, our number 1.
Well, there's a song on the debut album between Bye Bye Love and All Mixed Up, and it's Moving in Stereo.
Yeah.
And that's one of the aspects I like of that song is the way it just, Bye Bye Love ends and it just kind of starts right into the next song in a Moving in Stereo. And then when it ends, it goes right into All Mixed Up. You're not even sure if it's a different song at first, the way they end that. And I just think that's really cool. It just adds to, you were saying how it has kind of a dark, mysterious sound to it, Josh. And I don't know, I think that adds to the song.
Yeah.
And that, just dum, 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 dum. And then, that part where it changes at the end, the song gets a little different. When I hear that song, to me, that's one of those songs where I'm like, I just sit back and I go, man, how did they think of this? How did they come up with this? This is so cool. They took this kind of weirdness and made this awesome song. They took the vocals at times and like made them sound like they're coming out of a can.
Yeah.
And it's just so badass. Aaron, you talked about, I knew this was going to be my top 3 songs or whatever. I wasn't sure, but I knew that Moving in Stereo was going to be my number 1 song because I just love that song. And of course, you've got the, you equate it with the Phoebe Cates scene, that's so cool too. When she just comes out, I've always liked you, Brad. Down, down,
Yeah.
down, 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 down. And she goes walking out. First of all, that's one of the best scenes. It's so hilarious. in that movie too, you know, and his whole line there at the end, doesn't anybody fucking knock anymore? I mean, that's one of my favorite lines in any movie. But anyway, the song itself, we've all mentioned it, but it's just a perfect, fantastic song. Moving in Stereo, number one.
Benjamin Orr again.
Yep. And the thing about this, I was listening to it on Tuesday, and it was just going all around the speakers too. It's really a stereo sounding. It's
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. When you listen to it in headphones, man, it's a trip.
Yeah, I can hear that in my car, and it was so cool sound. I was like, oh man, I love this. So
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm done.
I was just gonna say the production on the Cars albums are so good. Like I spun all of them this week, and they all just sound fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do. Who was it? Roy Thomas Baker is the one that produced those, right?
Yeah.
So my number one has been my number one forever. Since it's been 40 years or so now. The song's a little older than that because it's off their debut, but it's just what I needed. Ben Orr, man, it's just, I love the buildup of that song and the lyrics and how the lyrics have so much emotion going into it. The part, just all the verses, and then it kicks into that chorus, and it's just a perfect song. Like they have about a dozen or 2 dozen perfect songs, and that's always been my favorite Cars song. Every time I hear it, I get in a good mood, and it's just, I'm amazed at the musicianship in it. And if you break down like all the different instruments in it, it's kind of crazy how good it is. The guitar work, the bass, Ben Orr singing, just amazing. And just what I needed. Always been my favorite Cars song. Always will be. Number one.
All right. My number one is mentioned by Gary before, and Gary said it perfectly, where he said this song could mean differently for different people, and that's Drive. And I think the reason why Drive could mean a lot to a lot of different people is that line where he says, we can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. Now, anyone that's been in any type of relationship knows that it's hard. And they know, like Bruce Springsteen said it best with that song, I will wait for you. If I fall behind, wait for me. Being in a relationship means sometimes waiting for the other person because you can't expect perfection. But when you are in a relationship that is really hitting it hard and that line comes on, you can't go on thinking nothing's wrong. And this person's like, who's going to pick you up? Who's going to hold your head? And, all of these things, it paints that picture of being in that toxic situation with someone that you love. And that's what I love about the song is if he didn't care for the person, he would just leave, but he desperately cares for the person. And that's why he's saying, like, we can't go on pretending that nothing's wrong. There is something wrong, but I'm still willing to be that person. I think that it is one of the most beautiful written songs ever. If I was to list my 100 greatest songs ever written, it would be on that list. And even though, man, Moving in Stereo kicks my ass, and if I put that on right now, I'm going to be like, oh shit, this is like the greatest song ever. This song fucking moves me and it touches me and it makes me feel like all the emotions. So Drive by the Cars, I think it's one of the greatest written songs of all time.
Nice.
Boo.
Yeah.
All right. My number one, Gary already touched on it. Moving in Stereo. Segued into mixed up. Yeah, I don't know. It's everything that made the Cars great. You've got the heavy keyboard in it. You've got the guitar work. I love Benjamin Orr. I love the different vocal effects that he uses. He's got the one where it sounds like he's kind of like coming through a radio. Life of fame, I'm moving in stereo. The whole thing, and then it's just it's great. It's almost like a progressive rock song in a way because it's like a kind of an extended workout. And then it just kind of settles down and you get all mixed up. It's brilliant. And I can't imagine the two separated. They always played them together on the radio, which is the way it should be. And 2 Benjamin Orr songs. I mean, I'm sorry, Benjamin Orr steals the show on that first album. Say what you will about Rick Ocasek, but for me, my favorite songs on this have always been the Benjamin Orr songs, and Moving in Stereo straight into All Mixed Up is just the highlight of that album. And I love the other tracks on that, but it's just what a cool way to, end that album.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, this album is perfection. This album, I mean, really, like with the exception of maybe, I mean, I like Don't You Stop, but I don't know. Every other track on here would have made my list, except the fact that I don't want this to number one be a boring video on my part. But there's other tracks that I like on other albums. But for me, that Cars debut has always been my favorite. I love every song on there, and damn.
Now, Jeff, don't you feel like Benjamin Orr? I mean, I feel like it made Rick Ocasek better, and Rick Ocasek made Benjamin Orr better. It's almost like Lennon McCartney, where you had these two brilliant people, and their music fit so well together, but they were so different in ways, and I think it was brilliant.
Yeah, well, and what band at that time had that, where you've got two great singers, songwriters in the same band? I don't know of another at that time. I mean, I think the next band to come along that had that was probably Alice in Chains, but
Yep.
I mean, it was the Cars, and there was nobody else who had that at that time.
Yeah.
And I think both of the guys sound kind of similar at times.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of people get confused on who's singing, and they don't realize how many songs Benjamin Orr is actually singing, because they think it's Rick, because a lot of times it is hard to tell on certain songs, who is singing,
Yeah.
And most of the videos that came out later were all Rick Ocasek, like during Heartbeat City, Shake It Up, Slap That, did a lot.
Yeah.
But it's cool that all four of us picked a Ben Orr song as a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got that memo that you sent, so that's why I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was a fun list.
Oh yeah.
Your top 30 or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, I would love, there's so many songs I want to talk about that didn't make the list. I feel like the top 10 list doesn't really.
Cruiser was so close to making mine too. I love Cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
a
different.
great one.
That's a totally different sounding song too.
Yeah, so many good ones. I mean, Down Boys is a great track.
What about Tonight She Comes too? No one put Tonight She Comes. That's a great song, only on the greatest hits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that song, to be honest with you.
I'm Not the One. I mean, I love I'm Not the One. That would have been definitely in my top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody picked Touch and Go, but Touch and Go is a great track. I would have.
That was 13.
Yeah.
I love that. And that song, it totally reminds me of the Ghost of the Machine era Police. Listen to it again and kind of think that. You'll see what I'm saying. It just has that eerie quality to it.
Mm-hmm.
That Police era.
Well, and it's synthesizers and not a cheesy 80s synthesizer kind of way.
Yeah. They made it eerie sounding instead of cheesy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. It was a fun list to compile. And, I can't argue with any of your lists. Next week, we'll pick another topic. Hopefully, Chris will be with us, but very glad to have JC back with us again. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Peace.